Hello, Chain Gang, and welcome back to the Four Chains Travel. We just booked another cruise on the Queen Victoria that will take us from Barcelona to Malta and then Croatia. And we'll arrive just where we need to be in northern Italy. That's what this video is about.
Yeah, you may have heard in a previous video, if you're a subscriber, we had planned to take a train and kind of loop around from Barcelona to northern Italy. But when this deal came up, it was a deal that was just so good. We absolutely could not pass it up. But this cruise has something in common with every cruise, which is it has the same potential that it could just go awfully wrong, and there's so many mistakes along the way that people can make. We are going to have 3 videos in a row starting this week, every Friday at 8:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to help you avoid cruise mistakes in general.
Yeah, so this particular video is going to be about making mistakes in the booking process, things that you want to avoid when you're booking a cruise.
The next week, we're going to have a video about things to avoid when you're actually on the cruise. And then the week after that, we're going to have a video about mistakes getting on and off the cruise. So both on embarkation day, on port days, and on disembarkation day. These are 3 mistake videos in a row. We don't like doing negative videos. So if you are a veteran cruiser or you just cruise a lot, please help us with the flip side of this video. Make comments on this video with things you do to make a cruise great, like things to make it better than the normal cruise, because we want to put together a video from the viewers about the best cruise advice to make your cruise awesome. So as a community, I really feel like we can put together a knowledge base so everybody can get the most out of their travel, and in this particular case, your cruise travel.
Right. So a lot of the tips will be focused on saving money, but we're skipping the most obvious aspect of this process, which is how to get the best deals on cruises, because we already have videos that focus on the process of ensuring that you're paying the best price, and another video focusing on the difference between searching for bargains when cruises first go on sale versus last minute bookings. So check out those videos. And if you're not a subscriber already, please go ahead and subscribe if you haven't seen them. And so the other
other than the biggest mistake, which would be not watching those videos.
Watching those videos.
Yeah.
We have other important pitfalls to tell you about as well.
Yeah, the reason we made those videos is people pay really varied prices on cruises. You have to understand the concept. Rich people, they don't care what they're paying. So if they want to go on a cruise, they're just going to pay the first price they're seeing. And cruise lines, just like any other travel company, it doesn't make any sense for them not to give rich people the opportunity to overpay. But cruise ships are big. And to fill the cruises, they need people like us. They need people that are willing to spend extra time to try to save money. And so those earlier videos are how you save, the systems you use to consistently get good prices on cruise deals. And there's going to be a lot of saving money in here, but once you're on the ship and in other areas. Okay, mistake number 1. How about you read the mistakes and I'll talk about them, you can chime in.
Okay, the first mistake is choosing the wrong cruise line.
Yeah, okay. So people who are new cruisers or have only been on a few cruisers or maybe even been on a lot of cruises but only with one cruise line might not realize every cruise line has their wheelhouse. It's just good business. So what that cruise line might be perfect for you, but not perfect for us. Right. So you have to understand in advance what cruise line that you are booking, and it's really going to be making a big difference. If you want to know about a specific cruise ship, put it in the comments. If we don't know about it, some of our subscribers definitely are, but I want to talk to you a little bit about just cruise lines in general, give you a quick overview.
And I think what you're talking about is like knowing whether you want to be on a cruise that's adults only or for families, or something that's very bougie versus something that's more casual and
everything in between. Like MSC cruises, in one sense it's bougie because you look at the ships and they're beautiful and you're like, holy cow. Now, for a lot of people, that is the most important part of a cruise. Not really for us.
Definitely not for us, because
We like it.
Well, we're going to be traveling all over and trying to do so with very little luggage. So we're not going to necessarily have a bunch of formal wear to dress up every single night. And so that's a consideration for us.
But food is always important for us.
Yeah.
And MSC is not strong on food. I'm not saying we wouldn't take an MSC cruise because, you know, we travel in Europe a lot, and sometimes there's like mini repositioning cruises where we can take an MSC cruise. It's the same price as a plane. So we're going to do that. But we wouldn't choose an MSC for a Caribbean. For the Caribbean, we would probably do a free My Vegas cruise, but we would do it on something like a Carnival, or, you know, like let's talk about Carnival ships. They're really fun. They have roller coasters. They have water slides, but those aren't really as important to us. They're not as elegant as the MSCs, but for a Caribbean cruise, the food's a little better, so we'd rather have that. The Queen Victoria that we are taking with Cunard, that does not have a lot of activities for kids. They do have some, they have a kids club, but it's really not the same. What they're known for is really posh decor, but also really, really good food. We're going to need some relaxing and some good food after our time in Spain. And trying to get to Italy. Italy's going to be crazy. So that's why we booked that. Right. Celebrity, everybody loves Celebrity. It was voted the best overall cruise line because it combines really good food. It's a really beautiful ship, but it does have kids activity, but you're going to be paying, unless you're doing a repositioning cruise like we are, you're going to be paying a premium for Celebrity. You may pay a premium for Princess, but if your issue is overcrowded for cruises, we kind of accept that. But if that really bothers you, Princess is known as the most space per passenger cruise, and they're also known for having the most comfortable beds. We love that.
Right.
Virgin cruises. So Virgin is very expensive to get on the ship, but a lot of people, understandably, are bothered by the nickel and diming that almost every cruise ship does. Yeah, Angie is one of them, but with Virgin, you cannot pay for food or drinks. It's all included, and some people just their total enjoyment, it bothers them so much to be nickeled and dimed that it's worth it for them. Now, if Virgin is the kind of ship you would like but you can't afford, consider Holland America. They're more mid-sized ships. They're less expensive. There's not no nickel and diming, but it is known for having less nickel and diming than the other ones. If you have specific priorities, you might be happiest with a specialty cruise. Some of the brands we've mentioned before have banned passengers from having a upside down pineapple on their door. Do you want to tell them what that means?
It's just symbolic for lifestyle, and I think that's funny that they've banned them, though. I guess they got really out of control and there was like pineapples everywhere. I don't know.
It means you're a swinger is what basically Angie's trying to say. But if you're a swinger, you can get a cruise on Bliss, Desire, or Temptation. We're not swingers, but when we stayed at Temptation Resort, people book that cruise, and they have a lot of good stuff to say.
So let me stop you there, because a lot of people complain and say that Temptation is not a swingers resort.
It is not. No.
We haven't been on that cruise, so I can't speak to whether there is more of that activity on the cruise ship than there is at the resort. I don't know. From the videos that I've seen, it seems like maybe there is, but anyway.
We will never be on a swingers cruise, so if you have, that's great. Let us know in the comments how those are.
That being said, there are people in the lifestyle at every resort you go to, and probably every cruise ship you're on as well.
Yes, that's true.
You don't necessarily know it, but it is true.
Another thing to say, Temptation, one of the reasons we go there is they offer us a big discount, and they also allow us to give that discount to subscribers. So we have status with Expedia, as you can imagine, from full-time travelers. And really, any hotel in Expedia, we can send you a link if you want to book it, where you get our statuses and our discounts. Now, another content creator, Chris Jericho, he is in a rock band called Fozzy. He's a pro wrestler. He does a rock and wrestling thing. You might like that. But in general, go to themecruisefinder.com. I'll put the website up here. You can look. There's lots of cruises. Find your people. There's no reason to hope your people are going to be on a cruise if you can book a cruise that guarantees it. So what's mistake number 2?
Number 2, make sure that you do your due research and choose your own room. Do not let the cruise ship choose it for you.
Honestly, I This should have been number one.
It's very
the
important.
most important. It's a mistake that is made most commonly. Why? Because the cruise ships offer you two things that are supposed to be incredible, and all they do is incredibly suck. One of those things is they do.
I know, I agree.
Guaranteed fare and an automatic upgrade. Who would like a guaranteed low fare and an automatic free upgrade?
There's a trade-off for that guarantee.
Yeah, it sounds like something you want, but you don't. So we booked this cruise just last week with Cunard because they sent an email out about reduced cabin fares. People jumped on it. The site crashed. Even on the Amex Cruise Privileges site, which is something you know, if you have Amex Platinum, is probably where you're going to book all of your cruises. You could not select a cabin. I called up. I complained. I got a discount on it.
It was a good discount too, because otherwise we probably would not have a single drink on that cruise ship. But.
Well, they gave us $460 in-room credits. Now, I turned down the automatic upgrade. I had that unchecked. I turned down the guaranteed fare. And in fact, we wound up having to pay $80, so $40 each more to be able to pick our specific pattern. So why did we do this? Okay, well, let me give you a couple of subscriber stories about how they got hooked up with the automatic upgrade. Okay, I wrote it down here because I don't want to mess up their story, but one got upgraded from a balcony to a suite. Now, if you've gone on cruises, you know suites are really, really expensive. They're twice as large. Yeah, they're sweet. Unfortunately, the suite was in a public area. This public area was a nightclub until 3 a.m. and then was a breakfast bar at 5 a.m. So you guessed it, they did not get over 2 hours sleep the entire time. Here's another one where somebody was upgraded from an inside cabin to a balcony, but the balcony was right under the pool deck. So late at night after everybody's gone to bed, and they had gone to bed, they get woken up by the removal of the deck chairs. Those deck chairs are replaced at, you guessed it, 5 a.m. So you do not want to be there.
Probably also you could hear the pumps from the pool going, would be my guess.
Yes, you can, all of that. So just general, you do not want public areas. So, but here's the crazy part about it is that they had booked an inside cabin because they get seasick. They didn't realize they were signed up for automatic upgrades. So, but they did not have the opportunity because it's not just automatic, it's not optional. The cruise lines want that because that way any of the rooms that are not sold, usually because they're in a part of the ship you don't want to be in, they can give people automatic upgrades to those things. So they were in an area of the ship they didn't want that was supposed to be an upgrade, and that is absolutely no good. So let's talk about why we paid $40 each. Specifically what Angie and I like. Your needs might be different, okay? We don't get seasick. So having the inside cabin is not as important to us. We like an ocean view or a balcony, but obviously, regardless of whether we're prone to seasick, if the weather's really bad, we don't want to get caught up in it.
Right.
So we do want to be in the middle of the ship because there's less motion in the middle ship, but there's other advantages. At the beginning of the ship is normally tons of public areas, the pool, places where they do rock concerts and stuff, and also if it's a smaller ship.
By beginning, he means the front of the ship.
Yeah, she will give the correct ship terms, but the front of the ship, they drop the anchor on smaller ships, so you don't want that. The back of the ship is where the engine is, and also lots of public areas. So we got a room, 5019. I'll show you the specific room we're in. If you're going to be on that cruise, go ahead and knock on the door, and we'll have a drink. But it's a little closer to the front of the ship than I want, but I'm going to show you the actual floor plan. So look at the floor plans here. You see there, you can have some tea, that's fine. You can see that there are rooms on either side of us. We are not by an elevator. We are not by a stairway. Now, if you look at the fourth floor, right above us in 4019 is a cabin. If you look at the sixth floor, 6019 is also a cabin. So we are surrounded on all sides by other people's cabins. Is that worth $40 each? Absolutely, to avoid the guaranteed fare, and we don't want the upgraded cabin.
We do not like sleep disruptions and avoid them at all costs when possible.
Yes. Now, here's something that is important to us. I don't understand why vloggers rarely talk about this. You need to know the side of the ship you are on, particularly if you are traveling parallel to the equator, and here's why.
Yeah.
It might sound great to have an ocean view or a balcony room where you see the sunrise, but the problem is the sun will be shining right in your room the entire time. We'll use Rob and Allie. Rob and Allie, you can give them a follow. They were really excited about this room, but it was so hot, they had to close the window. Well, there goes close the blinds. Well, there goes the value of having an ocean view. But then they had to crank the AC all day, and it still didn't cool down, and Rob in particular could not sleep.
So he's talking about Rob and Allie from Grounded Life, whose channel we love. The same can be said, this technique, for train travel. So keep that in mind as well, because you need to know if you're going to have a great view or a horrible view, or the sun's going to be in your eyes the whole time. Whatever. It
was such a bad experience. They did something they had previously said on their channel they would never do, which is choose an inside cabin. It was cooler. Rob says he slept great, and it really made them rethink the value of, and it gets darker, so it's easier to sleep. So yeah, you need to consider what side of the ship you're on. Okay, let's go another one.
Number 3, do not ignore the brackets on the list of ports when you're choosing a cruise.
Yeah, Angie loved the fact that the Queen Victoria stops in Malta, Croatia, Italy. We're not complaining about anything. But the best part about the ports on the Cunard Queen Victoria are there are no bracket ports, and brackets stand for bullshit. What brackets mean are they are labeling the port one city, a city that will sound familiar and famous to you and awesome to you, but in fact the port is a different city. So I want to thank Travel Scouts. They really warned us about this because it wasn't something we were looking at back in the day. And you know, unless you are on one of those around the world ships, or you're on one of those like Villa V where you live on the ship full time, when you get in a port, it's not going to stay there for 2-3 days. It's going to be there for 8 or 10 hours. So if there's significant travel time to the place where you actually want to spend time at that port, you have to subtract that from your port day. So let's pause now. I'm going to show you a quick video that I have already made and show you some examples that we've run into, but there's certainly more, but you'll get the idea.
We'll start with what I think is the biggest offender, which is Berlin. A lot of people want to go there, but if you are taking a cruise, you're not going there. You're 3 hours away, so I hope you enjoy Warnemünde, Havenslieren, Güldenstein, and Lato Gavun. Venice, that is a bucket list city for everybody, and I get it, but if you cruise there, you are 2 hours away. I hope you have a long port stop. Ravenna is a lovely city, and Bologna is the best food city in the world, so maybe enjoy that. Paris, who doesn't want to be treated incredibly rudely in a very famous city? But that's not going to happen if you cruise there, because you're 2.5 hours away, and in Le Havre, they are not nearly as rude to tourists, so that's not authentic. Rome, this is the one they complain about the most. It is the most important city in the history of the world, but it is also over an hour away. This map does not reflect what readers tell me is a longer travel time. Amsterdam, pot is now legal most places, so it's less of a bucket list for a lot of people, but it is an hour away from the cruise stop. Look at this, Florence. Florence is probably the most beautiful city in the world, but if you take a cruise there, you are going to be an hour and a half away. If you've already been to Florence, maybe enjoy Pisa or Lucca, which is a much shorter drive.
Mistake number 4 has to do with ports, and that mistake is ignoring travel warnings.
Yeah, the first thing, most important thing you want to watch out for are security warnings. My advice is just make it simple. It's not complicated. Before booking a cruise, you look at the ports, and then you Google the name of the port and then the words travel warning, and then you can just change the name of the port for each search. I'm going to put first I want to put a definition of warnings. There are 4 different kinds of warnings, and they are not all created equal. Just because there is a warning at a port doesn't mean that I would stay away from it, particularly if it's a weather warning that, probably won't be the case when it comes time for you to take your cruise. But just last week, the State Department increased the threat level warning for cruise ports in Chile and Haiti. And when you read the details, that would cause concern. I'll give another example. I would personally not book a cruise that stopped in Manzanillo, Mexico. I don't know, not even sure I'm pronouncing that correct.
I don't know where that is.
Some cruise lines have just taken upon themselves to not go to Manzanillo anymore, but not all of them do, and that brings up an important point. Do not assume because a cruise line has decided to stop at a port, oh, well, I read some bad things, but it must be safe or they wouldn't be stopping here. No. They use the State Department warnings as guidance, but it doesn't have any authority. They do not have to not go to these cruise points. It's completely their choice. Now, it's not just safety. One of the reasons why this Queen Victoria went on sale, and this cruise ship usually doesn't, when you look at the ports, it's a very attractive cruise, so usually it's hard to find sales for it, but it might have been because it's leaving from Barcelona. And Barcelona's been the target for cruise protesters.
Been very hostile to visitors and expats recently, in recent years.
Yeah.
Including people having tomatoes thrown at them,
Yes.
Water guns shot at them. So
yeah, I mean, we're leaving from Barcelona, so hopefully that'll help. But if there's trouble, we're definitely going to let you know here in the channel. So, okay, mistake number 5.
Mistake number 5 is not checking for added fees when you book.
Yeah, this is kind of a port thing too. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I'll hit this real quick because when we made our videos about getting the best deals on your cruise fare, I included this. But basically, Mexico, New Zealand, Greece, they have added a per passenger fee. Now, it sounds like that's a port fee. And if you booked a cruise, there's a really good chance that the price you paid includes ports fees. It will not include these fees. Now, we had a subscriber saying, well, I'm just going to make that a ship day. I'm just going to stay on the ship. There's some appeal on port days of staying on the ship when it's less crowded and you can use meals you've already paid for and stuff. That will not get you out of these charges. It is a per passenger charge. You will pay that charge even if you do not get off the ship.
Right.
So just when you Google the travel warnings, Google added port fees. I'm sure more people are going to be charging. But we talked about that in the other video, so let's move on.
Okay. Mistake number 6 is ignoring weather patterns.
Yes. Now, an example of that would be the Gulf of Mexico during hurricane seasons. Now, there are some sweet deals, some great ports. We love the Gulf of Mexico. You have to accept the risk. We had some followers, Rachel and Shelby. They grabbed one of these deals, and it had 4 stays of ports. They knew that it was cheap because of the potential for bad weather. Sure enough, 3 of the 4 stops had to be canceled. They knew it was a risk going in. They were cool with it. But if you're not aware that it's a risk going in, it might be a problem. There's been some problems with high winds on Alaska cruises. There were some vloggers we were really jealous of because they got to go to the Chase the Northern Lights cruise. We're like, oh man, that'd be so, I know, it'd be so fun. We're not jealous anymore. It got hit by 100-mile-an-hour winds. The videos from that cruise are really scary, and it knocked out the stabilization.
Weren't the waves insane, like the insane rogue waves?
Yeah, I'll try to get some footage if I can get permission to put it up there, but you need to know in advance that you are rolling those dice.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's do one more.
Mistake number 7 is not signing up for the cruise line's newsletter. And there are usually multiple Facebook pages associated with a particular cruise. In fact, we're on a page that is specifically for not only the cruise line that we're taking, but the exact ship and the dates that we're sailing. So this group is all of the people that are going to be on this cruise when we are. So you can exchange ideas leading up to the cruise. For instance, hey, we're staying at this hotel the night before, and we can share transportation getting to the port. Who else is staying here? Just useful advice like that. Yeah,
if you are watching this and you're married to her, you can just go to the next video because she's going to make sure that you do that. We have a Facebook group, by the way. We've never asked anybody to sign up for it during a video because we don't spend a ton of time on it, but that's going to change. So yeah, sign up for our Facebook page, 4ChainsTravel search groups. But our Facebook communities really helped us. If you saw the story about how we needed to get from Bologna, Italy, all the way to Dulles Airport, and the community let us know a way that wasn't too complicated to get from Bologna to Charles de Gaulle in Paris, all the way to Dulles in Washington, D.C. We only spent 8,200 Amex points each.
Sweet.
Yes, zero chance we could have figured that out without you guys. So use that stuff. But also the newsletters give discounts on Wi-Fi packages, drink packages, specialty dining packages.
Any kind of changes, unforeseen changes might show up there as well.
Yeah, and what's more frustrating than complaining about the $176 a day that the two of you spend on drinks and finding out that somebody else spent $92?
Right.
It adds up. So, okay, hopefully these tips will help you go ahead and book the perfect cruise. Once you have booked that cruise, come back to our channel. Next week, we will focus on the mistakes when being on the cruise ship itself, during the cruise, and then the week after that, we are going to have the on and off video. Disembarkation, port days, embarkation, all of it. But also while you're watching these, if you have some great tips or hacks to make cruises awesome, please help out the community, put it in there. Let's enjoy our travel together. Let's enjoy so much. And
thank you for subscribing and liking the video. We hope you enjoyed it.
Sorry.
We'll see you next time on The 4 Chains Travel.